What's good, people? What's good? Election day. Here we are. This is going to be, I feel, one of the biggest days in history just because this election is just so strange and weird and sad and funny at the same time. So, as you all have heard, I'm sure, Lil Pump goes on at a Trump rally in Michigan, and the president mistakes his name and calls him Lil Pimp. Um, some people now in the hip hop community are definitely questioning this. And this is another thing. Here we go again. Hip hop and politics. Let me say this, people. I have not seen an election where there is so much hip hop and politics combined in one election. I mean, I don't even think I saw this through the Obama years. I mean, I believe that Obama might have been the start of it, and maybe all these politicians now are seeing the influence of hip hop. Let's be honest. I mean, let's just admit hip hop is controlling the mainstream. Hip hop is basically running the world. If it wasn't, I would not think that so many politicians would be bringing hip hop. Let's get into the Lil Pump real quick. So Trump brings Lil Pimp, or Lil Pump, shall I say, onto the stage, congratulates him, and does all that.
We appreciate it. I love your sound. I love your music. And speaking of sound, music, and other things, one of the big superstars of the world, Lil Pimp. There he is. How's it going? Do you want to come up and say something? Do you want to? Come on. Lil Pump. Come on. Come on up here. Come on up here. Does everyone know who he is? Do you know how big he is?
Hello, everybody. How you guys feeling? I come here to say, Mr. President, I appreciate everything you've done for our country. You brought the troops home, and you're doing the right thing. MAGA 2020. Don't forget that.
So some people are trying to say that they believe that Trump's last call out was just for a cry for help to the young voters, because I believe Lil Pump is like 20 years old or something like that. But the other interesting thing is that it seems that some other hip hop personalities out here are saying that Lil Pump was just doing it to get more record sales because he doesn't really have the recognition, as his albums have not done as well as his Gucci Gucci or whatever song it was that he put out. I mean, I'm not really a super Lil Pump fan, but I respect what the young kid is doing. You know, can't be mad at that. Can't hate on that. I never will hate on another man's success or woman's success. So for that note, yeah, he goes on stage and says, "Don't support Sleepy Joe," and this is just making the news. Now, what's really interesting, before I go to that point, I just want to say I find it funny how Trump is saying that he loves Lil Pump's sound. I can't picture Donald Trump walking around the White House bumping Lil Pump. But if he is, hey, wow, that actually would be a pretty cool video right there. So anyways, the other thing is that I see that the media is covering Lil Pump, they're covering Lil Wayne, they're covering Kanye West, but they're not really covering what the hip hop is doing on the Joe Biden side. Now, this is where I come to let you know part of the news that you're not being told, which is funny with hip hop and politics. Let's look at the performance with Common and John Legend.
The camera panned up. King pointed to the mountaintop and we ran up. One day, when the glory comes, he will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war
Okay, we can stop it right there. We'll stop it right there. That song is a great song. It's a glory song, and it's glorious and all that, but this is the night right before the election. I think that you should be trying to come with something that's a little bit more hype, Common and John Legend, Mr. Legend. I think that you guys need to come with something that's going to, get people wild up and get people wanting to go out and vote. If that's your whole plan with this performance, I don't know. I felt that performance was a little boring. I felt that it was a little sleepy. And if Trump's bagging on Biden is basically calling him Sleepy Joe, I don't think that was the right song to do. But, they're in front of their crowd, so I guess they have the right to do whatever song they want to do. But that's probably why this isn't really getting noise in the media. And then John Legend goes on to preach basically why you should go out and vote and why you feel that this is a need to vote. This is more than just an election. He actually went on the media. Let me pull this up. and he says that like a lot of these rappers are brainwashed. In a rally held at the same time for Biden, singer John Legend called out those artists with the reference to Jordan Peele's 2017 film Get Out. And he says, some of your former favorite rappers have been taken in by these lies. Legend continued, I think they even founded a new supergroup. It's called The Sunken Place. So right there, he's referring to the movie or film, shall I say, Get Out. Basically, Get Out is a movie where there's an older white suburban, upper class family that takes these black people in as hostages and basically turns them into their servants and their slaves and turns them into zombies, or not zombies, but more like a hypnotized person who's no longer there anymore, and they're just controlling their mind. Great movie. If you haven't seen it, I suggested you go highly out and watch that movie if you haven't. But anyways, John Legend is referring to that film when he's speaking about Lil Pump, Lil Wayne, your former favorite rappers. Like, who have, maybe just because it's your former favorite rapper doesn't mean that it's ours, Mr. Legend. I mean, there's some of us out here that still bump Lil Wayne no matter who he endorses. So I found that pretty interesting.
Just last week, we lost another black man, Walter Wallace Jr., right here in Philadelphia, to police violence. A man with mental health needs who, just like so many other Americans, wasn't able to get the care he needed. So yes, we've lost a lot. But Philadelphia, what we haven't lost is our ability to decide what happens next. In this election, your vote will decide whether we're a country that allows this pandemic to continue indefinitely or one with a plan to end it. Some of your former favorite rappers have been taken in by these lies.
Yeah, here we go.
I think they even founded a new supergroup. It's called The Sunken Place. But Trump's platinum plan for black folks is nothing but fool's gold, because you can't bank on a word he says. Ask the students of Trump University. Ask all of the contractors he stiffed. Ask the people his charity was supposed to help before it was shut down for being a fraud. Ask all the black and brown Americans who are dying.
So it's interesting how John Legend goes on to say that we need to vote now so we can put an end to this nightmare. I think that this nightmare that we're calling, or this so-called nightmare, has been going on for a very, very long time. I'm not sure what the nightmare is that he's speaking of, but I don't know if this nightmare will necessarily end like that just because we voted for a new president or we voted for the same president. It's just really interesting how these hip-hop personalities and these hip-hop people and everybody are trying to have so much of an influence on what is going on in the politics. I don't know. It's just it's an interesting time, people. It's an interesting time, and it kind of makes you think: is entertainment what's really controlling the world, or is it really politics? Because if it was really politics that was controlling the world, then you wouldn't have to have all these celebrities that probably don't really give a crap who you vote for or what you do, because they're all rich and they're all in their mansions. And I can guarantee you, for the most part, possibly this pandemic is not really affecting them. They can just quarantine in their mansions. Nothing wrong with that. So it's just interesting how we have to hear from all these celebrities that we probably are inspired by, and then them telling us who they are voting for and that we should go vote for that same person because that's what they believe in. And it's just almost like, come on, man. Can people think for themselves? Well, we're about to find out, America, because tonight is election night.